from her gullet.
Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and fascinating relationships in Severance Season 2, Harmony Cobel and her estranged aunt, Sissy Cobel. In episode 8, we get a closer look at Sissy's life and her strained relationship with Harmony, unraveling layers of their past that tie back to Lumon, the company at the heart of Severance. But what exactly is the connection between these two? Why is Sissy a pariah in Salt's Neck? And how does it all tie back to the sinister and emotionally charged history surrounding the Cobel family? By the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer understanding of the powerful, complicated dynamic between Harmony and Sissy Cobel, and why Severance continues to leave us with more questions than answers.
Loyalty. There was no town before the factory.
The setting of Salt's Neck. First things first, let's talk about Salt's Neck. This is the town where Harmony Cobel visits her Aunt Sissy in Season 2, Episode 8. And it's no coincidence that this town plays such a critical role in their backstory. Salt's Neck isn't just any ordinary small town. It's marked by a deep-seated resentment toward Lumon, the company that's practically a character in its own right throughout the series. Salt's Neck seems to be an area that has been economically and environmentally devastated by Lumon's presence. In Episode 7, we saw a rundown Lumon factory in the town, and the connection between the factory's ruin and the town's struggles is clear. Harmony reveals that the factory is what destroyed Salt's Neck, either through the environmental toll it took or the company abandoning the town when it no longer suited their interests. This gives us context for why the town and its people despise everything related to Lumon. But for Sissy, who is deeply devoted to Lumon and its philosophy, this is a place where she is ostracized. She's living far away from the town, isolated in a small house in the wilderness. This exile is a direct result of her unwavering loyalty to Lumon and the Egans, something that makes her a pariah in Salt's Neck.
Everything that you have, you owe back to the Egans.
Who is Sissy Cobel? Now let's get into Sissy Cobel herself. When we meet Sissy in Season 2, Episode 8, she's already positioned as an outcast. The townspeople, including Harmony's old friend Hampton, describe her as a pariah, someone who is isolated and looked down upon by the rest of the community. Sissy's devotion to Lumon and the Egans sets her apart, but there's something even more complicated about her relationship with Harmony. The key moment in understanding their connection comes when Harmony visits Sissy's home. During this visit, we learn that Sissy is most likely Harmony's aunt. Although it's not explicitly confirmed in the episode, the clues point us in that direction. For one, Harmony and Sissy speak about Harmony's mother, Charlotte Cobel, in a way that suggests Sissy is Charlotte's sister. Additionally, there's a plaque in Sissy's home that reads Celestine Sissy Cobel, and this small detail reinforces the idea that she's part of the Cobel family. Even if the exact nature of her relationship with Harmony is still somewhat ambiguous. Now, Sissy isn't just an isolated figure in the town. She's a deeply entrenched member of the Lumon community. She's loyal to the company, and her relationship with Harmony and her family is complicated by this unshakable devotion. But what does it mean for her to be so loyal to Lumon, especially when the rest of the town, including Harmony's own mother, seems to resent the company? It's clear that Sissy's unwavering faith in Lumon is both the cause and the result of her estrangement from the people she should be closest to.
Your mother was a coward. More sick in
the tension between Sissy and Harmony. One of the most fascinating aspects of their relationship is the tension between Sissy and Harmony. Throughout their conversation in Sissy's home, we sense a deep fracture between them. It's almost as though they've spent years resenting each other. This tension stems not only from their differing beliefs, but also from a history that is rooted in family conflict. We already know that Harmony's mother, Charlotte, had a strong dislike of Lumon. She hated the company, and her relationship with Sissy, who was a staunch Lumon believer, was far from smooth. Sissy's devotion to Lumon is something that Charlotte and, by extension, Harmony resented. Harmony's emotions around this are clear in the way she talks about her mother's death in the first season. It's implied that Charlotte's illness was connected to Lumon in some way, possibly due to the pollution from the factory that caused her terminal illness. In Season 1, we see Harmony holding a breathing apparatus with the name Charlotte Cobel attached to it, a painful reminder of her mother's struggles. But Sissy's perspective is different. She views Charlotte's illness with a cold detachment. In fact, she admits that she didn't care much for Charlotte while she was dying. This is a huge point of contention between her and Harmony. Sissy's lack of empathy for her sister's suffering is something that has lingered over the Cobel family, and it's one of the reasons why Harmony resents her aunt so deeply.
I hope you die as painfully as she did.
The concept of severance and its emotional impact. At this point, you might be wondering what all this has to do with the concept of severance, which is at the heart of the show. Well, here's where it gets even more intriguing. Some fans have theorized that Sissy herself might have been one of the first people to undergo the severance procedure, perhaps even by the hands of her niece, Harmony. In episode 8, we see Sissy's inability to go upstairs in her home. She has to communicate with Harmony from downstairs, and Harmony even remarks on the fact that Sissy can't follow her upstairs. It's suggested that this might be because Sissy is severed. When someone is severed, they essentially become two distinct people. One who lives at work, the innie, and one who exists outside of work, the outie. Could it be that Sissy is severed, perhaps as a result of Harmony's own actions? It's a fascinating theory, and one that could explain the emotional distance between them. In fact, Sissy's relationship with Harmony and her own family might have been influenced by this severance procedure. We know that Sissy is extremely loyal to Lumon and its practices, so it's not entirely out of the question that she might have volunteered for the procedure as a way to deal with the emotional strain of caring for Charlotte during her terminal illness. If Sissy were severed, it would allow her to emotionally distance herself from the situation while still fulfilling her duties to Lumon and her family. It could also explain why Sissy doesn't seem to remember certain details about her sister's illness or her last words.
Different. My flower.
Sissy's role in Lumon's early days. Another intriguing aspect of Sissy's character is her possible involvement in Lumon's early days. It's suggested that Sissy may have been a key figure in recruiting children from Salt's Neck to work at the Lumon factory, potentially even indoctrinating them into the company's culture. If this is true, Sissy's actions would have played a huge role in the downfall of Salt's Neck and the town's deep resentment toward Lumon. Her loyalty to the Egans and the company might have come at the expense of her own family and the community she grew up in. It's also worth noting that Sissy's behavior seems to reflect a certain level of emotional coldness. She describes Harmony and Charlotte as weeds, suggesting that she sees herself as a gardener, trying to nurture only the flowers she deems worthy. This metaphorical language reflects Sissy's strict adherence to the Lumon ideology and her belief that only certain people are worthy of care and attention.
I don't believe you!
The emotional heart of Severance. At its core, the strained relationship between Sissy and Harmony is a reflection of Severance's larger themes of control, emotional detachment, and the consequences of living in a world where personal and professional lives are split apart. The show constantly explores the idea of what it means to be human when your emotions and memories are compartmentalized and fractured. Sissy's potential severance, her devotion to Lumon, and the deep scars left by her family history all tie back to this central question of identity and belonging.
You are a weed, just as she was.
Our nerdy thoughts. So, who is Sissy Cobel? She's a woman deeply enmeshed in the web of Lumon's philosophy, someone who is perhaps as much a victim of the company's manipulations as she is a willing participant. Her strained relationship with Harmony, coupled with her complex past and potential severance, adds a layer of depth to the mystery of Severance. As the show continues to explore the consequences of severance, we'll likely see more of Sissy's story and how it intertwines with Harmony's own journey. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more Severance content. We'll be back soon with more analysis and theories.
Filled with malice and resentment.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.